friends, so today I'm going to talk about 5 events that changed my relationship with money. I love you, but why do you have to be so controlling? I will be sharing 5 stories from my personal life that has really shaped the way that I see money. So the first story is about my first trip to Bali. So I was 18 and I was seeing my partner for about a couple of months. He already had a trip booked to Bali, but then for some reason, I think a couple of his friends pulled out. Hey Pablo, sorry to do this to you. I know we said we were going to Bali, but I've got something else on, so I'm going to have to pull out. Hey Pablo, so sorry, I can't come to Bali anymore, so I'm going to have to pull out. So he asked me if I wanted to come. I had a little bit over $1,000 saved up from working my retail job, so I decided to go with him, even though I couldn't really afford it very much. And let me tell you, this trip was not great. So the minute we landed in Bali, we were in the airport, we had just collected our luggage, and this man asked if we wanted a photo. I said, sure, that would be great. I gave him our camera. He took a photo. I clearly remember him showing us the photo that he had just took. I gave him some money for taking the photo of us and we got in a taxi. In the taxi, I was talking to my partner and then I just said, oh, where was the camera again? And we realized that neither one of us had the camera anymore. So the guy had actually stolen our camera. Oh, hey, would you guys like a photo together? All right. 3, 2, 1. I'll do some more. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Would you like to have a look? There you go. You guys look great. All right, see you. Oh, wait. I think you're forgetting something. You forgot to pay me for the photo. Oh, that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. All right, thank you. See you. And that was within about 10 minutes of us landing in Bali. So it wasn't really off to a great start. It was pretty late by the time we arrived in our accommodation and we checked into our villa. At 5 a.m. we got woken up by this rooster, which was really, really loud. And it just wouldn't stop. It just kept on squawking. What's that noise? It's so loud. So we went to the reception, told them about how loud the rooster was and how we wanted to stay in another room. So then we got upgraded to another room, which was another expense. I'm sorry to hear about the rooster, but we just don't have any other rooms available, so you're going to have to upgrade your room. And at the time, I really just didn't have very much money at all. So we were in Bali, but we couldn't really afford to do activities. We couldn't afford to eat at fancy places either. And because of this, we ended up getting food poisoning. I'm not quite sure exactly what meal it was that gave us food poisoning, but I'm pretty sure it was having this coconut on the beach. There was just something about the coconut that just tasted a little bit off, or maybe it was just a combination of us eating at really cheap places because we couldn't really afford to go to fancy restaurants. This tastes a bit off, but I'm sure it's fine. So we both got food poisoning and we spent half of our trip in bed or at the doctor getting medication. And I spent all of my money at the doctor. This was honestly one of the worst holidays I've ever had. It taught me that it's really important to have an emergency fund and that I didn't want to worry about money when I was on holiday. So the second money story is me leaving university. When I was 19, I moved out of home and I moved in with my boyfriend Pablo. I was earning $400 per week from working a part-time unpaid internship and also a part-time telemarketing role. And I was also studying law and communications full-time at university. At the time, it was really difficult to make ends meet. The rent for our 1-bedroom apartment was $400 per week. So my share of the rent was $200 per week. So that was already half of my money gone to rent. Then I spent an extra $50 on public transport and the rest was just on food or whatever else I needed to do. So it was really just enough to get by. Let's see how much money I have for food this week. Well, looks like I'm going to have pasta and butter again. And honestly, it was quite a struggle, especially when I needed to pay for uni textbooks and things like that. Eventually, I got a proper part-time marketing job, so I didn't have to do a part-time unpaid internship and a part-time telemarketing job, and I was earning $25 per hour as a marketing assistant instead of the $20 per hour that I was earning before. So after I got this job as a marketing assistant for this web development company, it made me really question and wonder whether I actually needed a university degree in order to get a full-time marketing job, and whether or not I wanted to pursue a career in law or communications, or whether I just wanted to keep on working in marketing. Eventually, after a lot of thinking about it, I decided to drop out of university, and my rationale was, if for some reason this just didn't work out for me, I could always go back to university. And since I dropped out of university, I was able to take on more work in marketing, and I did have a lot more time to upskill myself in marketing and earn more money. So looking back, it was a good decision for me. Something that I learned about this experience was it's really important to just really think about what's right for us. I felt a lot of pressure to stay at university from my parents, from a lot of people around me that said that having a university degree was important in order to become successful in life. No, Queenie, you have to stay at university. A lawyer is the career path that I have chosen for you. Don't you understand? If you don't become a lawyer, then I can't brag to my family and friends about you. But I realized for me personally, deep down, I wasn't really doing it for myself, and it wasn't something that was really improving my life that much. And if anything, it was causing me a lot of stress financially. The third money story is about trendy suburbs. There was a study which was done on people, and they surveyed a group of people and asked them what kind of characteristics they would want in the suburb that they lived in. And a lot of the respondents answered things like they wanted to be close to restaurants and bars, and they wanted to be in an area where there was a lot of stuff to do. But when the researchers actually looked at where these people were living, they found that it was more so based on how much money they earned than by the characteristics that they wanted in a place to live. The more money people earned, the more people would live in fancy suburbs, because that was the area that they thought they needed to live in. Pablo, guess what? I got a pay rise. So it looks like we have to move suburbs again. When my partner and I were looking for a place to rent, we only wanted to live in the trendy suburbs. Of course, neither of us had a very big budget, so we didn't live in a super trendy suburb or anything like that. But the suburb that we did pick, in my opinion, was more based on the trendiest suburb that we could afford in our budget. Pablo, look at all these fancy cheeses. We weren't really thinking about everything that we wanted in a place where we lived. It was a one-bedroom apartment, which in itself was pretty great, but the area was pretty inconvenient for us. It was a 15-minute walk to the train station, so we never caught the train. The bus stop was right outside, but every time we took a bus, it was always really full. And that bus took a really long time to get to the city because there was a lot of traffic on that road. And I really did not like this commute at all. How long will it take to get to work?
Estimated time 25 minutes.
2,000 years later.
So how much longer is this bus ride going to take?
Estimated time 15 minutes.
We were renting this apartment for a few years before we had enough money to purchase our own place. So knowing all of these things, when we were looking to buy, we really wanted to think about what was important to us. We didn't have a big deposit, so a lot of the areas that were trendy and expensive were out of our budget anyway. But there were a few things that were really important to us. It was really important to us that we were close to a train station, and we were less than a 10-minute walk from the train station. It was also important to us that we had a supermarket nearby, so we didn't have to drive to places a lot. And we also wanted a place that had a lot of restaurants nearby, so we could have fun every now and again. The area that we live in is definitely not a fancy area, but we are so happy living in the place that we're living in now because it just suits all of our needs. Sure, it's not a posh area, and when we tell people where we live, they're not like, ooh, nice suburb. But you know what? It is perfect for us. Oh, you live there? Interesting. So my advice to you is when you are looking for a place to buy, I think it's really important for us to think about what's actually important to us and try not to be too focused on status, because being able to live in an area that suits all of your needs, I think is much more important than that. The fourth money story is my first office job. I was working at the same company where I was doing a part-time unpaid internship in marketing and also a part-time telemarketing job, and it was the same company, but they did have these two different roles. My marketing boss was really lovely. She was very kind and very supportive, but her business partner was one of the most difficult people I have ever met. He was one of those people where you just felt uncomfortable in their presence. I felt like everything that I said to him was wrong, even when I was saying something completely normal. What do you want? There were a few incidents that happened with him that really made me question working and money altogether. There was this one time there were these two ladies that were hired at the same time, and they were both really good friends already. After about 2 weeks, he brought them both into his office and he said to them, "Thank you for coming in here, ladies. You have been doing great work for this past couple of weeks. But you see, it's not enough, so I'm going to have to fire one of you. But you guys can decide who it's going to be. After hearing about this story, it made me even more uncomfortable to work there. But at the time, I really needed a job. I was living out of home after all, and I needed to pay for rent. But it really made me question the whole concept of money and working for somebody who didn't have everybody's best interests at heart, and working for somebody that I just really didn't think was a good person. And after working in this office, it made me really want to work hard so I didn't have to be in a position where I had to stay at a company that I didn't really like. And my fifth money story is all about going full-time on YouTube and leaving my full-time job. Before I was a full-time YouTuber, I was working in marketing at a startup. And my boss was the most amazing boss I have ever had. We really just got along, and we were just such good friends, and I felt like I could tell her anything and I could trust her with anything. Hey, so I have a bit of a weird rash on my leg. Do you mind looking at it? And I also really liked my colleagues. Everybody that worked at this startup is really smart and ambitious, and I just felt like they were hiring the best of the best, and it kind of also made me question whether or not I belonged there or not. But at the same time, I also wanted to start my own thing, and during lockdown it gave me a lot of time to think about what I really wanted to do with my life. I saw so many people losing their jobs and struggling financially, and I just felt like I was in such a lucky and privileged position. And if this situation happened a couple of years ago when I was 19 and I just moved out of home, I don't know what could have happened to me. So I really wanted to make videos to help people like myself back then who maybe lost their job, maybe didn't know what they were going to do for work, and maybe were feeling really crap about themselves. And honestly, I just wanted to tell that person that it's okay, like there's nothing wrong with you. This is just a really difficult time, and it's difficult for everybody, but you will get through this, just like how I got through this. Since I started making content and videos, I really just couldn't stop thinking about it. I was always thinking about new videos that I could create, how I could make it more engaging and fun, and just how I could serve you guys better. Pablo and I at the time were in a really lucky position, and we hadn't struggled for a while. Our life was very comfortable, but at the same time, I kind of missed that struggle. Pablo, we are too comfortable. We need to make our life harder. So that's why I wanted to quit my full-time job and go all in on YouTube. It wasn't a super risky decision because, of course, I was still making money from YouTube, so we wouldn't starve or anything like that if it didn't work out. But it just made us so much more hungry in order to really try to make this work. Pablo has also stepped away more from his job in order to help out more in this YouTube channel. So it forces us to really strive and really try to work hard at making this YouTube channel work. There is this amazing quote, which I can't think of the person who actually quoted this, but I did see it before in a Struthless video, and I thought it was so true. The quote is, "Hard choices, easy life, and easy choices, hard life." And that is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned throughout my life. I have definitely found that sometimes by making difficult choices, it can also lead us to having an easier life later on. And when we always make the easy choice, sometimes it can make our life even harder later on. So those are 5 money stories that have really changed my relationship with money and changed the way that I see money. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you tap the like button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And I have a secret code word for you, which is avocado. So write me a comment below with the word avocado in it, just so I know who watched this video all the way through. I really appreciate you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. By the way, if you would like more exclusive content and perks, I have created a Patreon. So if you would like to support this channel, I have a link in my description below to my Patreon. And if you want more videos, you can watch some more videos here. So click on the links and click through to another video.